welcome. Link down below in the description box to Post Wrestling for posting the 12 contenders for the new World Heavyweight Championship belt, as well as a wiki about the controversy of WWE having ties in Saudi Arabia. We're going to talk a little bit about that. It's kind of like a 2-in-1 combo platter video here. And the reason I'm going to get into it is because, well, the winner of the tournament between these 12 men for the championship, they're going to be crowned in a few weeks on May the 27th at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. So it's like perfect for me to talk about it. It's literally fitting. But it's going to be a little bit divisive. But the way I'm going to word it, I don't think it will be. And it's not because I'm shy to really give you how I feel about it. It's just, I'm just quite certain it's going to be okay. Trust me, if I can debate Trump and Obama and Biden and all that kind of crap on my other channel with no problems, trust me, this is going to be very tame in comparison. So, Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, AJ Styles, Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, Rey Mysterio, Edge, Damian Priest, The Miz, Sheamus, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cody Rhodes. Those are your competitors. Notice the lack of Roman Reigns' name on there. Roman Reigns is not going to be competing for this belt. WWE is pretty twisted at times. That doesn't mean he can't ever wear it. We just hope he doesn't. There's 3 names on there really quick, and it's going to potentially sound rude to some people, and I'm just going to spew 3 names. And those top 3 names are the names I don't like on this list. And it's not an offense, it's just, okay, strictly business. Damian Priest, The Miz, and especially Cody Rhodes. Yeah, that's right. I don't like Cody Rhodes' name on there, yet he's one of my all-time ever favorites in the history of history. It's because it goes back to what I said before, and I'm only going to say it really quickly and not give you a long-winded 15-minute explanation about it. Cody Rhodes can't finish the story by starting a new one. Right? Finish the story. Finish the book. You're in the final chapter of your book. You don't grab a new book and start from scratch, and that's what would be with the World's Heavyweight Championship belt. There's no history. It's a blank slate. Right? Doesn't even have a title. You can't start that story. Let Seth freaking... No, fuck that. It's my channel, Seth fucking Rollins. Let him begin a new story, because he's got nothing going on. He's done stories. He's been around, thank God, in some amazing matches and little mini snippet series stories. But it's time for him to begin a big whopper. I'm talking a big story the size of War and Peace. If you know anything about that book, it's, I think, one of the biggest in the world. So that's who I want to win the whole goddamn thing. But it's not just what I want. It's what I truly feel is what's best for business. Austin Theory already has a belt. I'm not going to start going through each name and giving you why I think they belong there or don't. The Miz, and it's no fault of his own, he's kind of just been like... He's been getting the Zack Ryder treatment lately. The Damian Sandow treatment lately. And it's not fair to him because he is absolutely amazing. Damian Priest has his own thing going on. The Judgment Day, Rhea Ripley's the champion, blah, blah, blah. Then Finn Balor's in there as well. Oh, man, it's just so hard to say. I just think like they're doing good right now, and I kind of actually like how the main... Well, not the lead of the group. There's no real, like, leader. It used to be Edge, but anyways. How Rhea, the woman, is in there, and she's representing with some gold. I don't feel like we need to decorate the rest of them out necessarily with some gold. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but, yeah. So anyways, that's that. Sheamus I like. I like in there. I wouldn't be mad if Sheamus won. Or AJ, really. I just don't want Cody to win it. I really don't. So that's that. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much about that. Now, The whole Saudi Arabia thing. I think we need to go back in time a little bit on the wiki because the information is accurate as to why the whole thing is a controversial thing to begin with. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you watch wrestling, but you don't get underneath the crust into the heat of it. Get it? Because deep in the ground, it gets hot as you get closer to the... Anyways. So, WWE has been criticized for holding the events without female wrestlers who were unable, not allowed to compete at all in Saudi Arabia between the years of 2014 all the way to 2019, to when COVID started, due to the limited rights women have in Saudi Arabia. And that's a fact, that it's not something that you can argue. I mean, it's only been in recent years that women are allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia. Triple H, WWE's executive vice president of talent, live events, and creative, responded to this criticism, and I quote, I understand. No, I'm not going to try and do his voice. I understand that people are questioning it, but you have to understand. Oh, we understand that every culture is different. I agree with that. And just because you don't agree with a certain aspect of it, it doesn't mean it's not relevant culture. Oh, yeah, I would agree with that part. You can't notice how I pre-highlighted the following sentence he uttered. You can't dictate to a country or a religion about how they handle things. Well, see, here's where I hard disagree with a man I look up to a lot. The Game. The King of Kings. Triple H. But he says, having said that, WWE is at the forefront of a woman's evolution in the world, and what you can't do is affect change anywhere by staying away from it. I agree with that. While women are not competing in the event, we have had discussions about that and hope that in the next few years they will be. And now they are. Consistent with the change in law of sporting events in 2017, women are in attendance for the events, though only accompanied by a male guardian. Yeah, we won't get into that. The point is, it's breaking barriers. I remember, like I said, and maybe a lot of you remember this too, when they weren't even allowed to compete, as it said, and then when they were, they had to like completely cover up. Like you're not seeing any beach bikini, scenes with any of the superstars. Like they're fully properly clothed and all that. And okay, whatever. And then things like Rey Mysterio, like with this cross on his mask, he's not allowed to wear that mask. That is fucking stupid. I don't care what anybody says. Like, it's just dumb. Okay? It's really stupid that he couldn't even wear it. Like, imagine being that agitated by somebody else's culture. It's not pushing it on anybody. But yeah, so there's been changes. And then there's that whole other thing which we won't get into. With Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi prince, and him supposedly, and I say supposedly because I honestly don't know, was supposedly behind the killings of the Khashoggi, the very outspoken journalist that used to critique the Saudi Arabian government quite a bit because there's been some, funky stuff going on there. And then that's just further adds to the controversy. Why deal with a country and a government that does all these things, that treat women the way they do? Why would you want to do that? So let me just tell you what I think really quick. At first, when this whole thing started years ago, I thought it was stupid for them to be dealing with Saudi Arabia. I was like, no, this is no good. This is ridiculous. But then I got talking briefly. It's not like we're BFFs, although he remembers me. But anyways, I had a brief back and forth with none other than legend superstar. Oh man, my mind is blank, and this is what happens when I get anxiety sometimes. But it's okay. Sergeant Slaughter. Okay? Spoke to him about it, and he was like, no, it's good. You got to look at it this way. And then I thought about it for a couple of moments. I was like, yeah, you know what? That does make sense. Just because you're you're kind of associating with or doing dealings with. Oh, there it is there. See? The killing of Jamal Khashoggi. Then there's wrestlers refusing to work, which we'll get into actually in a moment there. I actually completely forgot that this just had to do with the women's rights part there. But no, and he brought up some good points, and it was like, this is how you break down boundaries. If you just say, screw you guys, I don't like how you run things and all that, they'll never change their ways. And maybe indirectly, by having, Triple H and Vince and whoever else is responsible moving the events to Saudi Arabia, because you have to understand, just because their government is the way they are, it doesn't mean everybody there supports the way the government runs things, right? It's like, why should the rest of the people be punished for not being able to have, the WWE in their home country and all that? So then I reflected on what Sergeant Slaughter said, and I was like, you know what? It does make sense. And then I became on board with it. So I completely support it, because we're seeing change, and maybe it is making the government go, you know what? Let's modernize things and make things a little bit better for everybody, women especially. And so that is amazing to see. I think it was Lacey Evans and Natalia, if I remember off the top of my head, without looking. I think that had one of, if not the first ever. Oh, right here. October 30th, 2019, right before COVID started. WWE announced that a match between Natalia and Lacey Evans had been approved for the 2019 Crown Jewel event, making it the first ever women's match in Saudi Arabia. At the event, Evans wore a full bodysuit instead of the normal attire with the cheeks hanging, because, make it a little bit more, they're a little bit more conservative. And I'm okay with that, actually. I'm actually fully okay with them wanting to, to do that, to be conservative in that regards. That's fine. So it's because of all these things, the women's rights, the Jamal Khashoggi, that really didn't help. That leads to some people being like, you know what? I want no ties with this. And this isn't me like fence sitting, because I told you I used to be fully against it, 100% against WWE having any affairs with Saudi Arabia. Now I'm much more open to it, but I'm also equally open and pass no judgment on the people that refuse to partake in it. I'm much more open now, like I said. This one here we're not going to get into because it's pretty nasty. But if you don't know much about it, like I said, you can click on the link, click on the controversy with the journalist that was, like I said, brutally, taken out. And yeah, it's pretty bad. Now let's get into some of the wrestlers that refused to work. Sami Zayn did not participate in the Greatest Royal Rumble, as Zayn is of Syrian descent, and Saudi Arabia has strained relations with Syria. And I honestly, myself, wouldn't feel comfortable going there. I'm just being honest. Noam Dar, an Israeli wrestler of 205 Live, has never participated in any of the Saudi events due to the Arab League boycott of Israel and the Arab-Israeli conflict. And during Crown Jewel 2018, Daniel Bryan was scheduled to face AJ Styles for the WWE Championship, but he refused to work the show due to the Khashoggi murder, and as a result, his title match was bumped up to October 30th episode of SmackDown, as he was replaced by Samoa Joe. John Cena, who was scheduled to participate in the WWE World Cup at the event, had called it an honor and a privilege to compete in Saudi Arabia during the Greatest Royal Rumble, but was replaced by Bobby Lashley, as he reportedly refused to work the show in wake, of the Khashoggi murder. And in February of 2019, Fightful reported that prior to his leukemia diagnosis, Roman Reigns had informed Vince he would also not be taking part in the Crown Jewel pay-per-view due to the controversy surrounding the event. In 2019, for Super Showdown, Kevin Owens and Aleister Black told WWE that they would not travel to Saudi Arabia, in addition to Zayn and Bryan once again not competing on the show. Kevin Owens' refusal to work the show allegedly comes from his friendship with Sami Zayn, and as a result of his absence, he was replaced by WWE Champion in the WWE Championship match by Dolph Ziggler, despite Not participating in Saudi Arabia show to do the Arab-Israeli conflict. Bill Goldberg and Paul Heyman have worked multiple Saudi Arabia shows without incident, despite both being Jewish, and in Heyman's case, his own mother having been a Holocaust survivor. Goldberg would go on to defend WWE on the shows following his victory over Bobby Lashley at 2021 Crown Jewel, saying that he feels the country is heading in the right direction in westernizing the country and the Middle East region as a whole, citing the progress just in WWE shows alone in the kingdom. Goldberg did, however, later admit on Pat McAfee's podcast that he was initially scared to go to Saudi Arabia due to his strong Jewish heritage, but felt more comfortable after receiving a positive response from the Saudi fans and understood the bigger picture of the shows. And I can totally, not relate, sorry, but I can totally get what Goldberg is saying there, or any of these people that refuse to work. To be perfectly honest, if it was me, I probably would have refused. Not so much to like make a point, but probably because I would have like tiny Ms. balls. I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. It's just not somewhere I want to go because of the media, the way they're portraying it. I wouldn't feel comfortable like at all. And there's nothing wrong with that. There isn't. Saudi Arabia has strict laws against apostasy, and in Islam is commonly defined as the abandonment of Islam by a Muslim in thought, word, or through deed. An apostate from Islam is referring to by using the Arabic and Islamic term murtad. It includes not only explicit renunciations of the Islamic faith by converting to another religion, okay, and that's punishable by death in Saudi Arabia. And Hassan Assad, who's a former Muslim, converted during his prison term, avoided travel to the country for Crown Jewel in 2022. And then there's like some travel issues and lawsuits, okay? But the point is it's crazy if one says, I don't get the controversy. It's very easy to see the controversy. And it's really as simple as some of the other things that, okay, we won't really get into, but talking about COVID and all that stuff, like the vaccine. Yeah, I'm going to go there for a minute. I mean, I opened the can of whoop ass. I might as well completely, rip the can apart here. It's like the vaccine. If you think it's good, take it. I took it. I don't give a shit if you take it or don't. Right? Like I don't. I'm not like the others that either didn't or did and then shit on the opposing team for their choice. Right? It's not like it's got a 99% mortality rate. Right? In an extreme circumstance like that, yes, I'd be running around jabbing people with the vaccine if it was proven in an alternate universe that COVID-19 had like a 99% death rate. Yeah, sure. Hey, bitch, come here. But that's not the case. So like I said, I'm very, very lenient, very open-minded. It's not that I don't have a stance. I just shared with you my stance, where I stand on it. But at the same time, I'm very open to letting people make their own fucking decisions. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like their decision's going to negatively impact yours. And it goes back to that whole thing. So long as what you do and say doesn't infringe on the rights of somebody else and affects their health and well-being, then who cares what that person does? Really. So, yeah, I'm very supportive of all the people, like I said, that would refuse to work there. Me, I just don't like getting on planes either anymore. And it's that whole, it could potentially be too, what's it called? Being not negligent. Don't forget, I'm French, first and foremost, where you're not naive. Oh my God, I know the word. It's eluding me. It's the part where you're just completely oblivious to something, whether it's a country or a person or anything. You just don't know much about it. You're not well educated. You just kind of see a little bit of what the media shares with you. And then you just jump on board and go, oh yeah, it's bad, forget that. So yeah, there could be some of that because I'm sure going there is fine. But yes, there's definitely some extra things to consider, but going there should be fine. I'd be more worried about going to North Korea, to be honest with you, than Saudi Arabia. Okay? And part of that is because a lot of people have gone Saudi Arabia, and they came back, without incident. Whereas North Korea, well, that's a different thing. That I've talked about on my political channel. So, okay. But yeah, like I said, I am overall excited with the WWE in Saudi Arabia. Honestly, I am. I think if it helps, the thing with like the women's rights and just, westernizing, not that you're trying to change their culture, but yes, the extremes, it's nice to have things not so extreme. And that goes for anywhere in the world. I don't care if it's Canada, where I live, the US, where you probably live. I don't like any radicalizations of any kind, any extremes, anything. Extreme left, extreme right, extreme up, down, back. Like, I don't like it. Right? So that's that. This ended up being more about WWE in Saudi Arabia than originally, Hey, so by the way, these are the people competing, for the new World Heavyweight Championship belt. But again, in closing, I got into talking about this because the fucking event takes place in Saudi Arabia. So the first ever World Heavyweight Champion will be crowned in Saudi Arabia. Some people might even have an issue with that. Not so much with the WWE being there. It's like the first time ever someone wins it. It's going to be there. And what sucks is if there's people in here that don't feel comfortable going there, do they get sort of like penalized and ruled out? From what I've read, quickly from what we read, it seems like the WWE didn't punish, as far as I know, and seemed to be open to, allowing wrestlers to refuse because there would be enough that are willing to compete that it wasn't really that big of an issue. So, but could that play part sometimes in who can win the championship? Like in general, I don't know. But anyways, there you have it. I already shared with you the competitors who I'm hoping win. Seth Rollins, who I really hope doesn't win, Cody Rhodes. And it's fitting too, Seth Rollins at the top of the list. My number one guy in Cody Rhodes at the very bottom. It's like, sorry, pal, love you to death, but I just don't want you to have that belt. I want you to win money in the briefcase. Oh my God. Money in the bank. MITB. Money in the bank. Money in the briefcase. Well, the money is, anyways. Yeah, he wins it, goes to SmackDown, takes the... I don't know. I'm not part of creative, and maybe this is why I'm not a part of creative. But if they did that, that would be a creative way of doing things, and maybe having somebody from SmackDown jump ship to whatever. Who knows what's going to happen? So let me know down below, oh boy, in a civil manner, what you think, if you want to chime in on the whole Saudi Arabia thing. What's your take on it? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? Do you like it? And who are you hoping in this list makes it as champion? Who are you really hoping doesn't win it because you don't think they deserve it? And are you in support of those who refuse to work in Saudi Arabia? Let me know what you think. Because I care, legitimately. And a little bit of ulterior motive because it does help with the algorithm as well. The more engagement there is on a video, it might get pushed. There might get 50 views on this video instead of 10 or 20. So if you like the thumbs up, it does greatly help support the channel with the algorithm. If you didn't like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. And I'll send you on a one-way ticket to Saudi Arabia. I had to. Cringe comedian here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, oh, and you've got to face Brock Lesnar to win a chance at getting a ticket to come back. Don't ask. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, naturally that would be fantastic now, wouldn't it? But if not, I get it. Thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care. I hope this wasn't 20 minutes long. It was 24 minutes long. Wow. Bye. You can't wait. There we go. All right, until next time. Bye for now.